I'm going to start the show. This is the Way to Go podcast. Mark is taking notes over there. As I said, I'm starting anyway, so we're glad you're here.
That's good.
Mark, what are you taking notes about?
I'm taking notes about what I have to pick up from the grocery store tonight on my way home. Yeah, right. I'm just kind of, you told me we were talking about marriage. I'm jotting down some things I'd like to maybe think about if I get the opportunity. But you know what? I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here, to be on this show with you, to talk to people about marriage.
And there are a lot of verses. I mean,
oh my goodness,
I think sometimes you talk to people and you just realize they just don't understand the basics of marriage. I mean, some of the foundation of marriage would be you leave mom and dad, you cleave to your spouse, you become one flesh. Yeah. Man was alone. God said it's not good. He made a helper suitable. The purpose of marriage is companionship. I mean, just basic thinking. You know, if you don't have that basic thinking in your mind, hey, marriage is about companionship, you're going to be so far off because Adam was alone.
Mm-hmm. And it was not good.
No, it wasn't good.
It was not good for him to be alone. So God made him a companion suitable or comparable to him. Or that was helper.
Right.
You know?
Well, guys and girls have differences. So, I mean, not only are there guy and girl differences, there are differences between people anyway. So one might be stronger in finance. One might be more organized. One might be more adventurous. One might be more outgoing. But whatever the differences are, they're not necessarily, they're not a problem. Or as one young lady said to me recently, it's not an obstacle to overcome. It's something to be appreciated that we are different. Assuming the differences, we're not talking about sin or excusing sin. We're just acknowledging that, there are areas where we're just different. And that's okay.
And I think, Bill, what I've learned over the years is that each one brings a certain sense of need to the marriage, you know, like a man, you know, they're going to want honor.
Right.
The number one primary need of a man in marriage, honor. Everything you do as a wife, speak to him through the filter of honor, right? The number one need for a woman in my searching or whatever, the number one need for a woman, men, listen up, is security.
No, I agree with
she
security.
She needs to feel secure.
Yeah, for guys, they like to be significant, but a lot of times guys find significance in working outside the home and what everyone else says and what their family says is not as important. So if a guy sits next to his wife on a Friday night on the couch, he may not think he's doing something. He may think, I need to be out doing something. I need to fix something. I need to paint something. I need to plant the garden. And he might think playing games with the kids or sitting on the couch is doing nothing. But sometimes that's what his wife needs, so that's what he needs to do. But if you don't allow your wife to be the companion, then she's not really allowed to do what she was intended to do. And that is to provide company and be there with you. And sometimes guys forget that, and then their wives become frustrated because the number one complaint that I've heard since being here is wives feel abandoned, meaning that their husband's always on the computer, he's always outside, he's playing softball, he's hunting, he's always somewhere else other than with her. So she doesn't really feel fulfilled because she doesn't have a relationship with him. The guy feels like, well, man, I went out and worked hard and, I'm paying the bills, so I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I go to church with you, hopefully, different things like that. So, I'm out mowing the lawn, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, but are you relating? Are you having a relationship together? I think that's super important.
Yeah, because there, like I was saying, those needs, and this comes from Jimmy Evans. He's a great preacher on marriage, and the four main needs for a man is honor, sex, friendship, companionship. That's what you're talking about there, and domestic support. Like he wants to see his wife supporting him at home, and making that home a home. You know. And for a woman, it's security, communication, non-sexual touch. And I can't remember off the top of my head what that last one is, but that non-sexual touch, she just wants to be close with you, communicate your heart to her, and those are, if you do those things, I mean, you're going to have a much better chance of success in your relationship and your intimacy, building intimacy with each other.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I've never really thought of myself, I want my wife to honor me. I mean, I don't even think I think in those terms, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you know why? Because she honors you.
Yeah, well, she must, because I don't think about
Jerry is a great person she honors you. She speaks through the filter of respect. I've seen it. I've witnessed it.
She makes fun of me.
As soon as you start being disrespected, though, guess what?
She's mean to me.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it.
You know she doesn't watch this show. That's why you're saying that. Yeah.
My wife doesn't watch any of my social media. Trust me, I've been saying whatever I want for years.
Yep.
And I know I can do it without impunity at all, or because I know she's not going to know what in the world it was that I said anyway. But no, I mean, we get along great, and I feel significance is important. So if you want to say significance / honor, just call it by a different name.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I think guys like to conquer their worlds, and that's what they're always about doing. Yeah. And the wife wants to have that relationship and that closeness. So you got to build the relationship.
Yep.
It's give and take all the way. It's a two-way street.
You got to be able to work. See, I think too much emphasis in today's culture anyways is if it's meant to be, it'll just happen, and I think that's such a false statement. Like for me anyways, it was a wake-up call when I had a counselor look at me and say, hey, if you're not willing to put the work into it, it won't work for you.
Right.
Like you got to put the work into the marriage in order for it to work for you.
Right.
And man, it was like oh yeah, okay. So I actually do have to put in effort. You mean this is a daily, like it has to be on my mind every day?
Right.
Yes. Just like my relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. Same way. Daily effort for me to reach out to him, connect with him. It's not based on works, but since I got my salvation and I got that relationship with him, I want to work at it to continue to grow.
To be honest, I don't really feel like marriage doesn't feel like work to me. Marriage feels like, no, I want to be with her. I want to talk to her. So she's already sent me pictures. She's taken one of the barn cats to get fixed. So she's been sending me pictures, videos of him yowling in the back and her comforting him. And then pictures of his pathetic little face looking out the cat carrier and how happy she is they're fixing him today and she doesn't have to come back. Like, that's what I'm hearing about. Yeah. But I had a 6:30 meeting this morning on the way back home. I stopped by to talk to her for a few minutes, complain about the raccoons ripping into the planters and stuff like that. But no, I find that I always want to talk to her. Like, I always want to be around her and see what she's up to. I don't mind running by myself. Sometimes I'll go hike by myself, but I just like being around her. So I guess from that perspective, it's not that hard.
But
she
Bill,
just texted me right now.
You want that friendship.
She just texted me right now. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
That third need for a man, that friendship, that companionship, the shoulder to shoulder stuff. You know what I mean? Like, come alongside with me. You know how often I've asked my wife to go hunting with me. She just don't want to do it. She don't want to be a part of it. But
right.
Come with me. Let's be a part of it. You know what I mean? Now, she did get some golf clubs, so I'm looking forward to going out to the golf course with her and hitting some balls around.
Yeah.
So
no, certain things I don't expect my wife to do. I don't expect her to run with me. She doesn't. In the winter, it's too cold. In the summer, it's too buggy and it's too hot. There's always a reason why it's too something. For her to go. It's too early, it's too this, it's too that, it's too the other. I just know she's not coming. And even if she did, she's not going to run, so she would just be on the trail, and I would be running my distance anyway. But, yeah, she just wanted to text me now and tell me I'm taking jump out of my booth. Jump out of my booth. So whatever the jump is in her booth, she's taking it out right now. As soon as she meant junk, gosh. I should tell her I'm doing the podcast, reading her text. But I already told her. I don't need to tell her because I already told her I was doing a podcast. She texted me anyway. So this is how nice it is. So this goes on, throughout the day. I'll hear from her, so it's good. And we do stay in touch. And she'll come by sometimes to bring me lunch, and then at night, we'll tend to do stuff together. And so I like that kind of stuff. So
that's good.
It's companionship. But anyway, there are times in relationships where it's not going so well. And at some point to fix something, you've got to take a chance. Like, somebody's got to open their heart. If you got two people, well, I'm kind of like, I don't really trust you because you said you might leave me. And I don't really trust you because you talked about somebody else. And I don't really trust you right now to, open up my heart because you might hurt me. And sometimes in marriage, that's the way we feel. But at some point, someone's got to take a chance that they might get hurt. Because it's always like this. I kind of love them. I mean, I don't know. Because they're waiting for the other person to love them. And then if the other person loved them, they would jump right in. But they're not really sure.
I'm not sure. To me, I'm not sure it's about love anymore. I think, to me, it's about safety at that point. You don't feel safe with each other. But
there's no violence. There's no.
No.
Yeah,
safe
like
to
that.
be. I'm saying emotionally safe.
Right.
I agree with you.
Right.
If there's physical questionability. You need to, get out of that situation. But emotionally, you're just not wanting to be vulnerable with each other. You're not wanting to be open with each other, because you don't feel safe. Somebody might have, misused the information that you gave the other spouse. Like if I'm confiding in my wife and I find out that she's out there, which by the way, she never does. My wife is tight-lipped, but she's out there telling somebody else what I told her in confidence. I'm not going to open up to her.
Well, yeah,
anymore.
but I think that's a different story other than just, loving your wife. I'm saying if you're going to have a relationship and you're going to go forward and you're going to be close, there comes a time when you're going to have to take a chance. Yes, may that be unsafe. Of course. I mean, there are plenty of places I go and photograph that I don't go to them because they're safe. Could I fall? Could I break something? Yeah, that is a possibility. Absolutely. You go hiking? Yeah, you might slip. Something bad might happen. You might break your camera. There's always that possibility, but my goodness, I'm not going to sit around and do nothing because I'm afraid of what might happen. A lot of times when you evaluate the risk that you're taking, it's really not that big of a risk.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're saying, I don't know. I don't know if I can risk it. I'm like, it's not that big of a risk, you guys. No, and you can't have two people stationary doing nothing because they're afraid they're going to get hurt.
So many times.
Eventually, you're going to have to take that chance and say, yeah, I might get hurt if I put myself out there and love this person. I might get hurt if I make myself a little bit vulnerable. Now, I'm not talking about if you can trust them or, hey, every time I give them $100 for groceries, they spend it on pets. Well, yeah, I probably wouldn't give them money until, I knew that was resolved. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you and your heart and your emotions that you're going to open yourself up and love this person like you're supposed to, because you're not going to have a very good marriage if you don't love the person you're with.
It's true.
Right?
Absolutely. I mean, at some point, somebody has to break that barrier, that hindrance, and you're right. Somebody has to say, you know what, I'm willing to risk it. And all too often, I feel like way too many people don't do it because they feel like they can't change or things aren't going to be different. There's no hope in the future, And I have witnessed over and over subtle, small changes that you can make in your marriage that make all the difference in the world. And we're not talking big items. How about this? Try talking to each other for 20 minutes a day.
Right.
Let's go back. If that's too hard, go 10 minutes a day. Start there once. Just start talking to each other. See what happens. Not monologue, dialogue. Or remember?
Instead of coming home and waiting for them to come see you, you go see them.
Exactly.
Well, I came home, they weren't there at the door, so I didn't. Then go find them.
Go find them. Give them a kiss. Hey, I'm home.
Be
what do you
confident.
want me to do? Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of apprehension. There's a lot of people that respond apprehensively to things. They're kind of passive when it comes to situations. Instead of handling the situation and say, watch this, I got this. I'm going to handle this situation. I'm going to be this. I don't care how you are. I'm going to do it. Because sometimes we're doing it for the Lord anyway.
That's right.
And we're like, I know that it's the right thing to do. Yeah. So
to me, I think, Bill, when somebody comes to me for counseling, 4 things I'm looking for to see if they're violated. I'm looking to see if there's 4 laws of love. There's the law of priority. If you're not prioritizing each other, there's going to be issues in your marriage.
Right. That's great.
There's the law of pursuit. If you're not pursuing each other,
right.
Going on dates together, whatever it is, if you're violating that, somebody's going to feel legitimate jealousy.
Right.
I want to be pursued, partnership. If you're not equals in your marriage, you know what I'm saying? If somebody's dominating, that's going to cause issues. So we're kind of trying to find that. We're watching that, see if it's going to happen. And the last one is just being pure. Are you sinning against each other, or is there sin that you're a part of that you need to get rid of in your life? If you're a part of sin, you can't have good fellowship with each other and be out there. So let's say I want to have a good intimate time with my wife, but an hour before that, I'm sinning in pornography. That's going to contradict, and you're going to have issues in your marriage.
Or you're texting another woman. I mean, that wouldn't be good either.
So your 4 laws of love, you're prioritizing each other, you're pursuing each other, you're being partners with each other, co-equals with each other, and you're being pure in your relationship.
Right.
If those things are being violated, you're going to have issues.
Right. Yeah, you're probably going to be somewhat dissatisfied in those things.
Absolutely.
But you still have to, I just think sometimes you got to mix. Too many people sit around waiting for something to happen. I'm waiting for my spouse to change. I'm waiting for my spouse to ask me out. Ask them out.
Yeah.
Stop waiting around.
That's right.
And doing things. Well, then, we never do anything fun. Did you plan anything fun?
That's exactly right. So if you're tired of not being pursued, maybe try being the pursuer.
Right.
for a little bit. You know what I mean?
I've talked to somebody years ago about that, and they were like, "Oh, they never got to dinner." I said, "Would you please stop whining? Make plans and tell them they're going."
You're very insensitive, Bill.
I know.
Geez.
That's why they don't come to me. That's why they're all going to you.
Yeah, right.
They don't want to hear the truth. They can't handle. You can't handle the truth. That's the problem. No, I told them the truth. I said, stop it.
Yeah.
I said, you're acting like you're a victim here. You're acting like you have no part to play in this at all. You just sit there and I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to wait. They didn't. I'm forlorn. I got news for you. What did you do?
That's right.
You go do something. You go make a plan. And for honestly, ladies, most guys, you make a plan and tell them they're going to go out to eat with you. They're going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You make a plan. You tell them they're going to do, hey, I want to go here, do this. I'm making plans. They're going. They're passive in so many other things. They're going to be there too. Just tell them this is what I want to do and make the plan. And they're going to typically follow suit. And if they don't, then there might be a big problem there, right? If they won't come to you with stuff or do things with you. But I would at least, before you go complaining whole hog, why don't you go out and try to do what you can to do it? Now, sometimes we're in an area where, love has to be tough. And I've had those situations recently where I've had to tell them, listen, you got to put your foot down and say, I'm not putting up with that, period. Because I've seen people, honest to goodness, like spouses, disaster, doing all kinds of stuff they shouldn't be doing. And they're sitting there doing every single little thing for them. And I'm listening to this and I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? You're communicating to that person. There's no problem with what they're doing. You treat them all that. Yeah, I'm all for being nice, but it comes to a point when someone's in sin, somebody is doing something they clearly shouldn't be doing. You're almost supportive of it because you're just like, well, I'm just going to, make sure that everything is just perfect for them. And then maybe they'll behave. How's that working right now? Instead of saying, no, let's say if there's infidelity or something. No, you want that person? Let them do all that stuff for you.
Wow. They
can go deposit your stuff at the bank. They can go pick up this for you. They can go get that for you. Let them do it. You want to go out. I'm sorry. I'm not someone who messes around. I'm just not someone who's going to play footsies when there's bad behavior going around. I'd rather see that person do something about it and make it come around. And I'm telling you, in the advice that I've given to people, I've seen marriages come around time after time.
Wow.
Because it's the right thing to do. We're talking about being right and doing right. And you don't have to put up with bad behavior. Yeah. Like sin. You don't have to. And so where my suggestion would be to these people, listen, there are times where you've got to say it plainly. You are not going to do it. I've told people before, well, they're always yelling at me. Walk away. What do you think? You don't conversate with people and let them talk to you like that. You say, excuse me, if that's the way you're going to talk to me, we're not talking.
That's good. I mean, healthy boundaries.
Right,
so that's
absolutely.
What you're talking about.
You're not going to talk to me like that. Yeah. If you are, we're not going to have a conversation. When you talk to me like an adult and you talk to me kindly and in love, I'll talk to you. You're not going to sit around and yell and scream at me.
That's good.
Right? And treat me like dirt.
I like that. I mean,
the other way is you're just going to get more of it.
That's what
this
I
is what I
say,
found. Yeah. If you do nothing about problems, you get more problems. Problems do not fix themselves. Like Paul finally had to cast that demon out of that slave girl because she was following him day after day after day after day. It was only a matter of time before he had to do something because it was never going to stop until he stopped it. Like raccoons tearing into my planters. I've been complaining about it nonstop. It's like everyone who can listen to me, I'm telling them, raccoons are tearing my planters apart. So now I have to put an end to it because guess what? It's not stopping on its own. I thought maybe it would. I'm like, these little coons are probably new guys. They probably don't know that dirt's not delicious. So they're just eating it. And now they're finding out that, no, they actually like it. They have a taste for my potting soil. So every night I come out. 1 night, 2 nights ago, 17 planters wiped out. Put them back together best I can. This has been going on for weeks. 7 today. I got to put an end to it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm working at it. I don't need to get into all the ugly details. I'm working on it. That's all I can say. I've had a lot of suggestions. Farmers full of great information. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah. They know how to take care of these guys.
Some stuff I've never heard of before. I'm like, whew, man, that sounds wicked. Yep. So, but yeah, I mean, but I have to do something. That's the point about it. You have to do something. For us to sit idly by, my only suggestion is I think everything we do in love, but to sit idly by and do nothing typically never changes a situation.
No, not at all.
So
no, you got to put in effort. You got to put in change. The effort it takes to change.
Right.
And you're not trying to change the other person. You got to change yourself. You know, you got to work on what you can work on. So like that, for example, you're changing your tendency to want to please the other person with everything you're doing. You're changing that tendency, and you're saying, no. I have to set a healthy boundary that's going to protect me, and let that other person taste their own consequences, because they can make choices. They have to make a choice. Once you make that boundary, they have to now decide, okay, now what am I going to do with this?
Right. I agree.
And once they make that choice, they have to sit with the consequences of that choice.
Right.
You know? And if you're over there coddling and working, you know, they're never going to taste the consequence.
No,
consequences are a big change agent.
Right. And and we're not talking about changing the other person, but the fact of the matter is we all have expectations. Some expectations we have are fair. My wife can have an expectation of me that I'm going to be faithful to her. I would never say to her, you need to change that expectation right now. You know why? Because that's a biblical expectation. That's right. My wife should have an expectation of me. You're going to be honest. Yep. Why? Well, that's what the Bible said.
That's right.
Her expectation's dead on. It's not a matter of
your vows. You vowed that to each other.
Right. You know? Right. And it's in the Bible that I'm going to be faithful. That's 10 commandments.
Here's my commitment. I'm not gonna lie. Here's my commitment. 10
commandments. So when you look at marriage and what expectations are, some expectations we have of each other as spouses is just unrealistic. You know, drop it. But some of them are biblical, and you should never let go of it. Well, so when somebody's doing something they absolutely should not be doing, biblically speaking, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you got to stand your ground.
That's right. I need you to be committed to godly lifestyles. If you're committed to a godly lifestyle, then how much of your problems in marriage right now would just go away? Right. Unwholesome talk. Don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth. Right. You know, pursuing each other like you're pursuing Christ. Well, if you're not pursuing Christ, you don't even know what that looks like. Right.
Well, here's the thing. Our tendencies are to go the wrong way. I mean, we know that. Don't look at the Bible as just being, the Bible's telling me what to do. Oh, my goodness. It's terrible. I don't need to listen to that. The Bible is full of statements of reality. Statement of reality is I should not steal from people. State of reality is I should not cheat. State of reality is I should not kill people. That's the state of reality. It's always lying. It wouldn't matter. God didn't make lying bad. It was bad before we were ever here.
That's right.
Stealing was a bad thing before we were ever here, before this world was ever made. It just is what it is. So when you look at the 10 Commandments, I look at them as God's statements of reality. So in a marriage, and you're telling somebody, hey, you need to be godly, all we're saying is, no, you need to come in line with God's statements of reality that are already put there, because that really works. When I'm trying to go by what the world says and what the world's going to do, that's not going to work. But anyway,
can I share one verse to end it? Yeah. 2 verses, actually. Philippians 2.
I'll give you 1.5.
All right, 1.5. Go ahead. Philippians 2. Just think about if you applied this to your relationship right now. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value the other above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interest of others. Imagine if every one of us just started applying those 2 verses to our relationship. I'm telling you, your marriage will be transformed. Yeah. That's change.
Reality statement. Be unselfish. That's reality. Anyway, you guys all have a great and a wonderful week. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to share it with whomever you wish. Have a great day.